He admired her strength and how she managed all alone. Kali knew living in the forest was not easy, especially for someone like Zara, who had always lived in the village. Every day, Kali would watch Zara from a distance. He would see her gather fruits and fetch water from the stream. When she was not looking, Kali would leave things for her: extra fruits, some fish he caught, and sometimes fresh water in a clean container. He made sure Zara never saw him. Once upon a time, in a small African village, hugged by the arms of nature, there was a girl named Zara. Zara wasn't just any girl. She was like the morning sun, brightening everything around her. Her beauty was so rare, it made the birds sing louder and the flowers bloom brighter. People from nearby villages would walk miles just to catch a glimpse of Zara. Her smile was like a treasure, and her laughter a melody that danced in the wind. Men of high standing, from chiefs to wealthy traders, would visit Zara's parents, bringing gifts of beads, gold, and money. They said it was an honor just to be in the presence of such beauty. Zara's parents, simple farmers, were overwhelmed by this attention. They had never imagined that their daughter would become the village's pride. Her father, who tilled the land with his strong hands, and her mother, whose voice was as sweet as the honey they collected, treated Zara like a gem. They knew she was special, a blessing from the skies. In the village, every new day brought stories, but Zara was a story of her own. From the elders sharing tales under the baobab tree, to the children playing near the stream, everyone knew of Zara. They didn't just admire her for her looks. It was her kindness that warmed their hearts. Visitors left with stories of Zara, spreading her fame far and wide. Her parents, though humble in their living, dreamt of a bright future for her. They hoped she would find love as beautiful as her, someone who would see beyond her beauty and treasure her heart. In Zara's village, things were changing. The women started feeling jealous of her. They would talk quietly when Zara walked by. Their smiles turned into frowns. They didn't like how Zara's beauty made them feel less important. The men in the village couldn't stop talking about Zara. They would come home and tell their wives and daughters things like, "Why don't you dress like Zara?" or "Zara carries water so nicely." These words hurt the women and their daughters. They felt like they were not good enough because of Zara. Then something big happened. A man in the village named Zio left his wife because of something she said about Zara. His wife had called Zara's beauty bad luck. Zio got very angry. He said, "No one in my house will say bad things about Zara," and sent his wife back to her family. This made the women even more upset. Zara didn't know about any of this. She kept being kind and smiling at everyone, but around her, a storm was growing. The women were getting more and more upset, and this was going to change Zara's life a lot. The village was not a happy place anymore because of all the jealousy towards Zara. In the village, whispers about Zara turned into stories that weren't true. People started saying Zara's parents got her from the river spirits. They said this because Zara's parents had no children for 7 years, and then Zara came, beautiful like a spirit. These stories spread from one hut to another, growing wilder like a fire. The women, their hearts heavy with envy, started to plan against Zara. They met in secret places where no one could hear them. "We must do something about Zara," they said. "She has taken away our peace." They thought of ways to make Zara leave the village. One day they came up with a plan. They decided to put something in Zara's food, something that would make her sick. They thought, if Zara is gone, our husbands will look at us again, and our daughters will be noticed. They asked one of Zara's friends to help them, telling her lies about Zara. Her friend, believing these lies, agreed. She put the harmful thing in Zara's food, but luck was on Zara's side. As Zara sat down to eat, she knocked the bowl by mistake. The food spilled on the ground. A hen came and pecked at it, and by the next morning, the hen was dead. Zara never knew about this. She thought it was just an accident. But in the village, the women were shocked. Their plan had failed. They knew they had to be more careful next time. The village was turning into a place of dark plans and secrets. Zara, still unaware of all this, continued to live her life. But around her, the air was getting thick with plots and whispers. The women were not going to stop. They wanted Zara gone, no matter what it took. Zara began to feel a change in the air. She started feeling lonely. People in the village who used to smile at her now looked away. When she walked by, they stopped talking and whispered instead. Zara felt like she was all by herself, like a lone tree in a big field. She saw how the women in the village looked at her. Their eyes were not kind anymore. They looked at her as if she had done something bad. The men still liked her, but now it made her sad, not happy. Her beauty felt like a heavy dress that she couldn't take off. Her friends began to stay away too. When Zara asked them to come over, they would say they were busy. She would sit alone by the river, watching the water and wondering why everyone was acting so differently. Her heart was heavy, like it was full of rocks. The village was not the same for Zara anymore. Every day, the women's whispers and cold stares grew worse. They would glare at her as if she was a bad omen. The air felt heavy with their dislike. Zara could feel their anger wherever she went. It was like walking under a dark cloud that never went away. Zara's parents started to worry. They heard things from other villagers, talk about plans to make Zara leave. Her mother would say, "Be careful, Zara. The village is not safe for you anymore." Her father would look out the window. With a frown, his heart troubled. One day, Zara overheard some women talking. They were planning something bad against her. This scared Zara. She realized she couldn't stay in the village any longer. It was too dangerous. That night, she made a tough decision. She decided to leave the village, the only home she had ever known. Early the next morning before the sun rose, Zara packed a small bag. She took only what she needed, a little food, water, and a blanket. She looked at her parents, sleeping peacefully. She didn't want to wake them. She knew they would try to stop her. With tears in her eyes, she left. A note. "I will be safe. I love you both." Zara stepped into the cool morning air. She walked away from the village, her heart heavy. She walked for hours, the sun climbing higher in the sky. The village disappeared behind her, and the forest grew thick around her. However, what Zara didn't know was that immediately she left the village, she was being followed by someone. In the village, there was a hunter named Kali. He was known for his bravery and strength. Kali was not just any hunter. He was the most skilled in the village, and many admired him. He was tall and strong, with eyes that saw everything in the forest. Kali had always noticed Zara. He saw her kindness and her gentle heart. He knew about the troubles in the village and how the women treated her. When Zara left the village, Kali decided to follow her. He wanted to make sure she was safe. In the forest, Zara found a small clearing. It was peaceful, with birds singing and a little stream. Here, she decided to build a shelter. She found sticks and leaves. She worked hard, building a little hut to keep her safe. It wasn't much, but it was hers. At night, She would listen to the sounds of the forest. It was lonely, but she felt safer than in the village. In the forest, the trees didn't judge her. The birds didn't whisper about her. Here, she was just Zara, and that was enough. Zara's new home was simple. She slept on the ground, covered by her blanket. She ate fruits from the trees and drank water from the stream. Every day, she missed her parents, but she knew this was for the best. In the forest, away from the angry eyes and cruel words, Zara found a new kind of peace. She was alone, but she was safe. Kali stayed hidden in the shadows of the trees. He watched over Zara as she built her shelter in the forest. He admired her strength and how she managed all alone. Kali knew living in the forest was not easy, especially for someone like Zara, who had always lived in the village. Every day, Kali would watch Zara from a distance. He would see her gather fruits and fetch water from the stream. When she was not looking, Kali would leave things for her: extra fruits, some fish he caught, and sometimes fresh water in a clean container. He made sure Zara never saw him. He didn't want to scare her or make her think she was not alone. At night, Kali would stay close to Zara's shelter. He listened to the sounds of the forest, making sure no danger came near her. He felt a deep respect for Zara. He saw how the village had treated her wrongly. Kali wanted to protect her, even if she didn't know he was there. Kali's silent watch over Zara became a part of his daily life. He would go hunting, but he always kept an eye on Zara's shelter. He saw how she adapted to her new life, how she found peace in the forest. Zara never knew about Kali's secret. She felt alone in the forest, but she was never truly alone. Kali was there, a silent guardian, watching from the shadows, making sure the girl with the gentle heart was safe in her new home. Days turned into weeks, and Zara grew used to her life in the forest. She didn't know about Kali, the silent protector watching over her. But one day, everything changed. It was a bright morning when Zara spotted a shadow moving. At first, she was scared, but then Kali stepped into the open. He stood there, tall and strong, with a kind look in his eyes. Zara recognized him from the village. She was surprised but didn't feel afraid. Kali spoke softly. "I have been making sure you are safe. I mean no harm." Zara listened, her heart beating fast. Kali told her how he had watched over her, leaving food and water. He explained he did it because he admired her strength and kindness. At first, Zara didn't know what to say. She felt grateful, but also a bit shy. They started talking and soon they were laughing together. Kali showed Zara how to make traps for small animals and which fruits were good to eat. Zara showed Kali the shelter she had built and the plants she used for medicine. As days passed, Zara and Kali became close. They would walk through the forest together, sharing stories and laughter. Kali showed Zara hidden places in the forest, like a waterfall and a meadow full of flowers. Zara showed Kali how to weave baskets from the reeds by the stream. In the forest away from the world, they found solace in each other. Kali's strength and Zara's kindness were a perfect match. They both felt a happiness they had never known before. Zara forgot about the loneliness and sadness. With Kali, she felt safe and happy. Kali, who had always been a loner, found in Zara a gentle heart that understood him. In the quiet of the forest, under the tall trees and the open sky, their bond grew into love. They would sit by the fire at night, talking until the stars filled the sky. Kali would tell Zara stories of his hunts, and Zara would share tales from the village. In these moments, they felt like the only two people in the world. Back in the village, things were not going well. Ever since Zara left, a shadow seemed to fall over the place. The village, that once buzzed with laughter and chatter, was now quiet and sad. The men who used to visit the village to see Zara stopped coming. The gifts and trade they brought were no more. The village's market, once lively and full of color, now had fewer stores and fewer customers. The villagers began to feel the pinch. The prosperity that Zara's presence had brought was fading away. The women who had thought their lives would be better without Zara started to feel regret. Their husbands were no longer lively and happy. They missed the good old days, when the village was a hub of activity. The children, too, felt the change. Zara used to teach them English, telling them stories and making learning fun. Now, they had no one to guide them. The village king, a wise old man, saw all this. He had been quiet during Zara's troubles, thinking the villagers knew best. But now he saw the mistake. The village had lost its jewel, and with her, its luck. One day, he called a meeting under the big baobab tree. Everyone gathered, curious about what the chief would say. He stood up, his face serious. We thought we were removing a problem when we let Zara go, but we were wrong. She was not just a girl. She was a blessing to this village. Since she left, look at our village. Our market is dying. Our children are losing their way, and there is no joy in our hearts. The villagers listened, their heads bowed. They knew the king was right. Zara's beauty had brought visitors and traders. Her kindness had brought joy. Her teaching had brought knowledge. The king continued, "We must bring Zara back. She is part of our village, our heart. Without her, we are not complete." The villagers nodded. They knew what they had to do. They had let jealousy and envy blind them, and now they were paying the price. So, the king decided that instead of the men going into the thick forest to bring back Zara, the women who were the ones who pushed her away should go and find her. He turned to them and said, "You, women, were the ones who made her leave due to your jealousy and envy. Now you must bring her back." The women, reluctant at first, agreed, knowing they had a big task ahead. The village, once a place of envy and plots, was now a place of regret and longing. They had lost their jewel, and they needed her back. The chief's words were like a wake-up call. It was time to right the wrong and bring Zara back home. The next morning, a group of women from the village set out on their mission to find Zara. They walked with heavy hearts each step, a reminder of their actions that had driven Zara away. The journey was not easy. The women, used to the comfort of the village, found the forest paths rough and tiring. As they walked, they talked. At first, it was just about the task at hand, finding Zara. But as the miles stretched, their conversations turned deeper. They began to share their feelings of guilt and regret. "We never thought it would come to this," one woman said, her voice low. "We were so caught up in our jealousy that we couldn't see the truth." The further they went into the forest, the more they realized how wrong they had been. Zara had been a blessing, not a curse. Her beauty and kindness were something to celebrate, not envy. The hardships of the journey made them reflect on their actions. They missed Zara's laughter and the light she brought to the village. On the third day, as they pushed through a particularly dense part of the forest, they saw a small clearing. And there, right in the middle, was a simple shelter made of sticks and leaves. They approached slowly, their hearts pounding. Could this be where Zara was living? They called out gently, "Zara, it's us, the women from the village." There was a moment of silence and then Zara appeared. She looked different, stronger and more confident, yet there was a weariness in her eyes. The women saw how Zara had been living. They saw the small fire pit, the woven mats, and the little stream that ran nearby. They realized the courage it had taken for her to survive. Here, all alone, the sight of Zara, both vulnerable and strong in her solitude, moved them deeply. One by one, the women spoke. They apologized for their actions, for the hurt they had caused. "We were wrong, Zara," they said. "The village is not the same without you. We need you to come back." Zara listened, her emotions, a mix of surprise, sadness, and a flicker of hope. The women's quest to find her had been a journey of realization and repentance. They had come, seeking forgiveness and hoping to bring Zara back to the place that was her true home. The women stood before Zara, their eyes filled with hope and remorse. "Zara, please come back with us," they pleaded. "The village needs you. We were blind to your worth, but now we see. Without you, our village has lost its way." Zara listened, her heart torn. Part of her longed for the familiarity of the village, for her parents and the life she had left behind. But another part feared returning to the place where she had felt so much pain. She spoke hesitantly. "I don't know if I can come back. I was hurt deeply. How can I be sure things will be different?" The women's faces fell, but they understood her hesitation. They had wronged her, and earning back her trust would not be easy. One of the women stepped forward. "Zara, we promise things will change. We have seen the error of our ways. Your beauty is not a curse, but a gift to be treasured. We will make sure no one ever makes you feel unwelcome again." Zara thought for a long moment, the weight of their words sinking in. Finally, she said, "If I return, I do so on one condition. I will be treated with respect, not just as a pretty face, but as a member of the village, with my own thoughts and feelings." The women nodded eagerly, agreeing to her terms. "We promise, Zara, you will be respected and honored, not just for your beauty, but for who you are." The agreement was a new beginning, a promise of a better future. The women's sincerity touched Zara, and slowly she began to let go of her fears. She realized that returning could be a chance to heal, not just for herself, but for the entire village. With a mixture of apprehension and hope, Zara agreed to return to the village. The women, relieved and grateful, promised to make her homecoming a joyous one. This was a moment of reconciliation, a step towards mending the broken bond between Zara and her village. The day Zara returned to the village was like the dawn of a new era. She wasn't alone. By her side was Kali, the hunter who had watched over her in the forest. The villagers gathered around, their faces bright with smiles and eyes sparkling with joy. They cheered and clapped as Zara and Kali walked through the village. It was a celebration of her return, a welcome that was warm and heartfelt. Zara looked around at the familiar faces, now shining with genuine affection and respect. She felt a surge of emotion, realizing how much she had missed her home. The bitterness of the past was replaced by a hopeful future. The village had learned a valuable lesson, and Zara had found her place again among her people. In the days that followed, Zara noticed the change in how she was treated. People listened when she spoke, valuing her opinions and thoughts. Her beauty was still admired, but it was no longer the only thing people saw. They saw Zara, the person, wise and kind-hearted. The village began to thrive again. The market buzzed with activity. Children's laughter filled the air, and the sense of community was stronger than ever. Zara, with her experiences and lessons from the forest, contributed to the village in new ways. She started teaching the children again, infusing new life into their learning. And so, everything came back to normal in the village. You see, in the end, this story teaches us that being jealous and envious can cause a lot of trouble. It shows us that everyone is special in their own way and should be appreciated for who they are, not just how they look. The story also tells us about the power of saying sorry and making things right again. It reminds us that we all need each other in our community, and when we work together, everyone does better. In essence, this story helps us understand how important it is to be kind and work together for a happy and peaceful community. If you enjoy the story, please make sure you leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell for more stories like this one. Goodbye.